The best diet for clear skin is an ancestrally appropriate diet. That's the short answer. But if we want to get more specific, it really depends on the person. For example, if you're lactose intolerant, then you can't afford to do dairy. And if you live in Alaska, then you can't afford to eat fruits because of the sugar and deuterium, which you cannot handle due to the lack of sunlight. So let's break down what exactly an ancestrally appropriate diet is. Well, for the sake of this video, the definition that I have made up for it is basically the type of diet people in your area would have consumed 10,000 years ago or more. It's about eating according to the laws of nature. What are these laws? First, the food should be local, you should be eating seasonally, and the food should be minimally processed. Let me give you an example. I live in Costa Rica. What would the native people eat? They would eat wild fruits, deer, peccary, which is like this pig breed or whatever, armadillos, small game like birds, snakes, and iguanas, seafood, wild roots and tubers, and even honey. They would absolutely not be eating things like white bread, rice, Takis, muffins, fried chicken, or even dairy. Now, this doesn't automatically mean I have to eat exactly what they ate, but my diet should be similar in principle. Right now I eat pork, butter, avocado, eggs, seafood, and some fruits, mostly local. Eating this way avoids insulin spikes, which can trigger acne. It also reduces systemic inflammation and ensures I get all the nutrients my body needs while doing the least amount of harm to my body. As you can see, my diet is heavily animal-based. I don't eat many vegetables, and I avoid legumes, beans, grains, nuts, and seeds. Why? Well, these foods contain anti-nutrients, which can block nutrient absorption and irritate the gut lining, causing inflammation. You might wonder, why avoid these more strictly than an indigenous person who might have been able to handle them better? Well, the answer is my gut isn't as resilient. I'm not an indigenous person. I grew up in modern society, not in tune with nature. I've had modern lifestyle damage, so it makes sense to avoid all potentially harmful compounds in food. Let's take another example. If you live in Sweden, what would people have eaten 10,000 years ago? Mostly meat. Very few plants. Almost none. Because plant foods were very scarce. And at those latitudes, all you can find probably a few berries. So now let's dig deeper into what we actually want to be eating and what we want to avoid in our diet. So the first thing is we want to avoid high glycemic meals. These spike insulin and cause inflammation, which can trigger acne. We also want to avoid pro-inflammatory foods, and no, red meat isn't inherently pro-inflammatory just because of its saturated fat. Some foods you should never touch for clear skin are ultra-processed junk like Takis, cereals, ramen, and fast food, white bread, that sort of thing. You already know if it's ultra-processed or not. Don't even touch it, don't even look at it. Now, what about dairy? It depends. If you're lactose intolerant, stick to just butter. If not, dairy might be okay, though some people still react. Eating locally is also important. Your environment affects how your body processes certain foods. For example, eating a mango in Sweden might create more inflammation because your body won't get enough sunlight to process the sugar and deuterium efficiently. Deuterium can act as a mitochondrial stressor, so eating local seasonal foods makes your metabolism more efficient. For people with leaky gut, digestive issues, or high inflammation, which is a lot of people in modern society, a strict carnivore diet, only animal products, no dairy, can be beneficial. And many people do literally just eliminate all their acne simply from changing their diet to this extreme diet. You'll eliminate plant toxins, sugar, deuterium-rich foods, and FODMAPs, while still getting all the essential nutrients you need if you eat nose to tail. You can't just eat muscle meat. If you're going to do an animal-based diet, literally just animal products, you need to ensure that you're getting all the nutrients you need, which you absolutely can do. For example, you can eat seafood, eat the bones, you can eat eggshell powder for calcium, you don't need dairy, and it's also really important to be drinking bone broth to be able to balance out the glycine to methionine ratio, which is basically a ratio in the amino acids that you are consuming, which if you only eat muscle meat and you don't really consume enough collagen, you might not optimize that ratio. So just remember to consume some bone broth every now and then, and it's really that simple. Now, don't jump straight into this diet. Transition gradually over 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how different it is from your current diet. Your body will switch to burning fat and ketones, and you may feel some fatigue at first. With that said, thank you so much for watching until the end. If you need more help with skincare, check out this video right here. And if you need personal advice or guidance, join my community. The link is in the description. Peace out.